Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming management case study examinations happening in February 2024. My name is Nick and I'm one of the lead tutors and evaluators for MCS at TCS. So let's look at the session outcomes. So first things first, I'm going to take you through examiners' comments, which the indication of making you realize what you are supposed to achieve at your examination. And in the second part of today's webinar, I will be highlighting or I'd be sharing with you certain tips which will help you develop a high level of confidence because as I've been telling you throughout the webinar series, I've mentioned the fact that confident students end up passing the MCS exam comfortably. That's exactly what the CIMA examiner is telling us as well. So I'd be providing certain tips so that you can, improve your positivity since there's only 3 weeks until your examination. So let me remind you about the upcoming workshops which we have scheduled for you. So the first workshop is happening next Saturday at 5 p.m. UK time or 5 GMT. So 5 p.m. GMT. So in the upcoming Q&A workshop, um, Jared, our co-tutor for MCS, will take you through question and answer related to your MCS examination, thereby highlighting how theoretical elements can be tested and what you need to do to improve your application skills in a significant manner. So that's what's covered under the first two workshops which we have scheduled for you. And on top of that, these are Q&A sessions. So by the time you attend these workshops, you should be done with your fourth and fifth mocks. So then definitely you might have questions, and if you have any questions or concerns, you can raise them and get them answered then and there at these workshops. And the final workshop is happening 2 or 3 days before your examination. And in the final workshop, we will be sharing tips with regards to maintaining the same level of confidence, because if you have a positive attitude closer to the exam, then your chances of passing the exam is extremely high. So all these things will be shared with you, as well as last minute tips will be shared at the last workshop which we are conducting. So although you have access to the recorded versions of the webinars, if you miss out on if you had missed out on any of the webinars, I invite you guys to watch the recorded versions of these webinars via our website. However, the workshops will not be recorded, especially given the fact that these are Q&A sessions. According to GDPR, we cannot record your messages, or we cannot record your voices. So with that in mind, we are not recording the Q&A session. So if you are to benefit from them, you have to attend them live. So please bear this in mind. So all these upcoming workshops are conducted free of charge. So on a weekly basis, you can get in touch with a tutor and keep track of your preparations. So having said that, let's get into the technicalities of today's session. So first things first, as I mentioned earlier, I will be taking you through examiner's comments. So let's try to figure out what the examiner tells us with regards to developing a good answer. So good answers require relevance to the requirement. So, in the third webinar, the previous webinar, answering technique, I highlighted this point. I said that it's of utmost importance that you really understand the requirement clearly. If not, you'd end up structuring your answer, which is irrelevant to the requirement. If that is the case, you'd end up failing your MCS exam. So it's of utmost importance that before you develop your answer plans, it's of utmost importance that you really understand the requirement. And I highlighted what you need to do in order to ensure that you understand the requirement. I said that you need to reiterate the requirement in your own words in a concise manner before you start developing the answer plan. Why did I ask you to do it? Because if you do such a thing, whilst developing the answer plan, you can constantly go back and check whether you are headed in the correct direction. So the best method or the best way to ensure that you understand the requirement and you come up with an answer plan which is totally relevant to the requirement is to reiterate the requirement in your own words in a concise manner. I highlighted these facts in the third webinar. If you missed out on it, please go watch it. You can access it via the free as well as paid content, the recorded version of the third webinar. Please watch it. It's crucial to get your answering and time management techniques right. Because if you structure your answers properly, if you come up with high quality answer plans at the same time, manage your time appropriately, you can easily pass your MCS examination. And when developing your answers, you need to show to the examiner that you possess a high level of technical knowledge, as well as just because you know your theory, you cannot pass the MCS exam, especially given the fact that you are playing the role of a finance manager. The CIMA examiner is trying to replicate a real life corporate environment. So in a real life corporate environment, whenever you receive an email from your superior, if you come up with highly theoretical answers, you are not doing your job properly. So in order for you to carry out your job in a successful manner, you need to have the ability to apply the knowledge considering the information presented in each and every scenario. So I highlighted these points again in the third webinar, answering technique. I took you through a mini mock and its suggested answer, or rather the answer plan. So whilst taking you through the answer plan, I highlighted how theoretical elements or theoretical knowledge should be brought into your answer, with the intention of improving your evaluations or improving the quality of your recommendations. And on top of that, rather than solely bringing in theoretical elements, you need to match it up or link theoretical knowledge, link it up with each and every scenario. So each scenario highlights some type of an issue the company is faced with, or some type of an opportunity the company is trying to exploit. So considering the information presented in the scenario, you need to develop your answers. And when developing answers, you must bring in theoretical knowledge with the intention of coming up with high quality answers. So you need to work on your technical knowledge as well as your application skills. I highlighted how to do this in the third webinar. And on top of that, if you had already purchased paid content under the premium package, we offer a set of masterclasses, and in each masterclass, we are highlighting how to improve the quality of your answers. We are explaining the logic behind each answer. Whilst explaining the logic, we are also teaching you theory as well as ensuring that you understand application skills. So if you watch the recorded version of the third webinar, and on top of that, if you watch the master classes, and when practicing mock exams, if you keep practicing the answering and time management techniques which we highlighted, you can get these two elements right. If that is the case, your answer will be extremely good. And on top of that, the examiner wants you to come up with well-structured answers. So that's exactly why I said in the previous webinar, in the third webinar, that it's important for you to spend some time to plan your answer. I highlighted something called an answering technique. You need to develop your own answer plans. So if you spend some time to plan out your answer, or if you spend some time to come up with answer plans, then you are fulfilling this requirement. You are trying to come up with well-structured answers. So when you're structuring your answer, you can always decide what type of theoretical elements are brought in, as well as what type of pre-seen information is brought in with the intention of improving the quality of your answer. So you need to get your answering techniques right. Just because you know the answering and time management techniques, you cannot get it right. Instead, when attempting each and every mock exam, you need to keep practicing these techniques. If so, you'd never run out of time. You'd come up with well-structured answers at your real exam. And if that is the case, there's absolutely no way that you'd fail your MCS exam. And when providing answers, you are supposed to utilize paragraphs. So I again highlighted these points in the third webinar, answering technique. So I said that assuming that your answer plan has 7 valid points, for each point, you need to come up with a paragraph when expanding your answer plan, or when coming up with the fully fledged answer. So if there are 7 points within your answer plan, then you need to have 7 paragraphs of answers. There's absolutely no point of writing everything together, the entire answer together, thereby coming up with a single paragraph. Instead, it's better to be in the good books of the marker, make the marker's life easy by sticking to these guidelines provided by the CIMA examiner. So, you need to, when developing your answers, you need to come up with paragraphs, separate your paragraphs based on the number of answer points which appear within your answer plan for each and every subtask. And on top of that, if you are bringing in any type of argument, you have to back it up with appropriate justifications. You cannot simply recommend something. Instead, you have to say or you have to provide a justification as to why you are saying something or why you are recommending something. If so, you'd gain a lot of marks, especially when you are supposed to come up with your recommendation. So don't keep things simple. Back up all your arguments and recommendations with appropriate justifications. You'd learn these things once you go through the answer plans which we have developed for the 5 mock exams, as well as when you go through the master classes. You'd significantly improve your skill set with regards to justifications. Then before the exam, what is the examiner asking us to do? The examiner is asking you to study all areas of the syllabus. Okay, so you cannot miss out or leave any syllabus content when conducting your preparations. Instead, you have to be conversant with the entire syllabus. You have to be totally conversant with E2, P2, as well as F2 syllabi. So most students who are coming through the exemption route, you might know your E2, but you might lack an in-depth understanding about P2 and F2 syllabi. If that is the case, you cannot pass this exam, because the examiner is asking you not to leave out any syllabus area. If you do, you are testing your luck, and do not leave your success at the exam to luck. Instead, it's better to be involved with fully fledged preparations way before the examination. So when developing the 5 mock exams, we have ensured to cover the entire syllabus, all 3 pillars. So if you attempt all 5 mock exams which we have developed, then you need not worry about covering the entire syllabus, because via the questions, you will be going through the syllabus in its entirety. And on top of that, just as I mentioned earlier, just because you know your theory, you cannot pass the exam. You need to improve on your application skills, because it's always about considering. You have to consider the information presented in each scenario, and for each shortcoming faced by the company, you need to come up with your recommendations. So when doing that, or you might have to carry out your evaluation. So when doing these things, you need to utilize your theoretical knowledge with the intention of finding solutions to each and every issue faced by the company. Or it could be a question where the company is trying to exploit some type of an opportunity. So when doing so, with the intention of taking the best decision, you need to bring in your theoretical knowledge. But if you provide highly theoretical answers, you are not doing your job properly. Instead, you have to always apply to the scenario. So again, as I mentioned earlier, you can significantly improve your application skills by watching the master classes, and on top of that, by going through the answer plans which we have developed for the 5 mock exams. And on top of that, before the exam, the examiner wants you to practice tasks. So what this means is you have to attempt exam standard and pre-seen specific mock exams. And when practicing tasks, or when practicing mock exams, you are supposed to type or write full answers. So what are full answers? At the exam, you have to sit in one place and attempt 4 tasks at a stretch within 3 hours. So when practicing mock exams, you need to adhere to a similar approach. So full answers, when it comes to typing or writing full answers, what it means is that you need to sit in one place and attempt 4 tasks at a stretch within 3 hours, because you'd adhere to a similar approach at your real examination. So that's exactly why we have developed mock exam platform which is akin to the Pearson VUE system which you'd use at the real exam. And this service is provided with the intention of ensuring that when attempting each mock exam, you'd do it under exam conditions, you'd attempt each mock exam, thereby coming up with full answers. And on top of that, you have the capability to keep practicing answering and time management techniques, because take it from me, um, at the real exam, you'd encounter some type of stress, and if you're stressed too much, if you're clueless about how to manage your stress levels, then that leads to panic. And if that is the case, your answering technique, you can forget about the answering technique because you won't be able to think anything or plan out anything. So it's better to get accustomed to these type of pressures way before the exam. So when attempting each mock exam under exam conditions via the exam platform, you are practicing, you encounter these problems, and then you'll know how to get rid of these problems because you are conversant with pressurized environments or pressurized scenarios. So it's best that we adhere to the guidelines provided by the CIMA examiner with the intention of ensuring a first time pass. And during the exam, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to plan your answers. So that's exactly why I said you need to keep practicing the answering technique in order to get it right. I highlighted these points in the previous webinar, in the third webinar, answering technique. So I said 5 minutes should be allocated towards reading the scenario, and 20 minutes should be allocated towards developing something called an answer plan. So when you are trying to develop an answer plan for the first time, it would take you 40 to 45 minutes. However, by the time you are at mock number 3, you'd have an enough understanding about how this answering technique actually works, and what you need to do to improve the quality of your answers within a short period of time. So you'd get a hang of these answering and time management techniques. And if you keep on practicing this across the 5 mock exams, each mock exam consists of 4 tasks. So 4 tasks into 5 mock exams comes up to 20 tasks in total. So when attempting each task, when you keep on repeating these answering and time management techniques, it's as if you are practicing these techniques 20 times over, and that's enough practice for you to get it right at your real exam. So I'm not asking you to spend some time to plan out your answer or develop answer plans. The examiner is asking you to do it. So it's better, it's prudent to listen to the examiner with the intention of ensuring that you pass your MCS exam. And the examiner also tells us that the marker is under strict instructions to mark answers on their merits. So in other words, the markers will pick quality over quantity. Just because you provide lengthy answers, you are not going to get marks. Instead, you need to be conversant with the requirement, and when developing your answer plan or structuring your answer, you have to fulfill the requirement. You have to ensure that the requirement is fulfilled at all times. If so, you'd end up passing your MCS exam. So this is what the examiner is telling us. So if you adhere to these guidelines, you can for sure achieve a first time pass. And focused on these elements throughout these webinars, we have given you tips, as well as we have shared some techniques with you. So if you adhere to these guidelines, and if you keep practicing these answering and time management techniques, you are fulfilling what's expected from you as per the CIMA examiner. Okay, so that's that. And let's look at the marking criteria. So when it comes to marking your papers, 2 markers will allocate marks before the final mark is finalized. Why are 2 individuals involved with marking your paper? With the intention of ensuring that there is a higher level of transparency when it comes to marking. So 2 individuals would give their own grading separately, and these 2 grades will be added together, and the average will determine how much you have gained for your MCS exam. And when developing answer plans, As I mentioned in the third webinar, it's of utmost importance that you understand how many marks are allocated for each and every subtask, rather than blindly trying to develop answer plans. For each subtask, there is a weightage provided. This weightage gives us an indication about how many marks are allocated. And once you know the mark allocation, you can easily stipulate or determine how many answer points need to appear within your answer plan. So I highlighted these things, how to get these things right in the third webinar. So please watch the recorded version of the third webinar in order to get these techniques right. And as I mentioned earlier, when attempting each mock exam, keep practicing these answering and time management techniques. And as I mentioned earlier, marks are allocated based on merit. So um, the marker actually picks quality over quantity. So that's why you need to spend a significant amount of time to structure your answers or to develop answer plans. Okay, so having said that, before we move on to the second part of today's webinar, let me quickly tell you what we offer at TCS. So I'm on the MCS page, and if you are yet to check our free content, simply click on this button and create a user account. And once you have created a user account, you'd have access to a student dashboard. So, you know, this is what the student dashboard looks like. Go to my courses, then you'd have access to the MCS free content. Click on this button, then you'd have access to the recorded versions of the webinars, the 4 webinars, as well as one of the master classes, so that you can get an understanding about what's covered under the masterclass and how we conduct the masterclass. And on top of that, you'd also have access to the mini mock, the answer plan of the mini mock, and the questions and answers of the mini mock, which we have shared already with you. And on top of that, when conducting the third webinar, I took you through one of the questions which are covered within the mini mock. So, it's, better to go through these free resources for your benefit. Okay. So, check out our free content. And on top of that, if you are interested in purchasing, before you purchase, check out the sample material to gain an understanding about what you are getting your hands on. And on top of that, if you are yet to join the MCS WhatsApp discussion forum, click on this button and join it, because we are sharing a lot of knowledge via the WhatsApp discussion forum. You would have, if you are already part of it, you know how beneficial it is. We are sharing information about the weekly webinars and the workshops which we have scheduled for you. And on top of that, we are also giving you tips. If there are any questions, we are always ready to help you guys out. So to benefit from all these free resources, please join the MCS WhatsApp discussion forum. And let me quickly talk about what we offer at TCS. So we offer 2 main packages, the value pack and the premium package. The value pack is designed for students who are coming through the CIMA general route. So if you are coming through the general route, since you are conversant, since you had passed your OTQ exams, you'd be totally conversant with E2, P2, and F2 syllabi. So you need not watch master classes and whatnot. You need not have access to answer plans because you already know theory. So focused on these type of students, we have developed the value pack. So under the value pack, you get your hands on the recordings of all 4 webinars, the 5 mock exams with suggested answers. As I mentioned earlier, when developing the 5 mock exams, we have made sure to cover the entire syllabus so that you are not taking a chance at your real exam. Instead, you would be totally conversant with how each syllabus area is tested at your real examination. And you'd also have access to 4 pre-scene analysis videos. And if you watch these 4 videos, you'd gain an in-depth understanding about the entire pre-scene document. You'd have an understanding about the internal dynamics of Cuppcar, its external dynamics, as well as the financial performance, not just of Cuppcar, but its closest competitor as well. And you'd also gain access to the annotated pre-scene. So let me quickly show you what the annotated pre-scene looks like. So this is a pre-scene which is relevant for, which was relevant for a previous case study. So as you can see, we have come up with our annotations, thereby coming up with a good summary. So if you read if you just read these annotations, you are in a position to easily understand what's the most important points which are covered within the pre-seen document. And as part of these annotations, we are also highlighting probable exam scenarios which can be thrown at you, as well as the type of syllabus areas which can be tested based on the information provided. So throughout the pre-seen document, what you can see is we have come up with annotations with the intention of summarizing the entire pre-seen. So if you read through these annotations, you can easily understand what's covered within the entire pre-seen document. You'd also have access to industry and financial analysis slides. So let me quickly show you what these things are. So under the industry analysis slides, it comprises of 4 main elements. We have provided an overview into the chosen industry. We have also highlighted the industry trends as well as challenges, because at your real exam, the scenarios which can be thrown at you will depend on the trends which affect the real industry as well as the challenges the industry faces. So all these things are highlighted with the intention of ensuring that you need not spend time or conduct your own research about the industry. We have done it for you. And we have kept things simple as well. And at the very end, real world examples based on real world companies are provided in order to ensure that you really understand what this industry is. So that's exactly what throughout the set of slides, if you go through our industry analysis, you can easily grasp an understanding about what happens within the chosen industry. And at the very end, real life companies dynamics are highlighted as well. And we have conducted a financial analysis based on the financial statements of Cuppcar as well as its closest competitor. So, as you can see, we have evaluated the SOPL as well as the statement of financial position. So when carrying out these evaluations, we have come up with annotations, and we have kept these annotations simple and concise, with the intention of ensuring that you really understand what's highlighted within the financial statements of your chosen company. And at the very end, a ratio analysis had also been conducted, and all these ratios had been evaluated. And these evaluations, when carrying out these evaluations, we have kept things simple with the intention of ensuring that you really understand what happens within your chosen company, and as well as its closest competitor. So that's what you'd gain access to under the value pack. And you'd gain access to the top 10 likely issues, which highlights the most prominent type of issues or scenarios which can be tested at your real exam. And you'd also gain access to the case study familiarization kit. So within 10 to 15 minutes, if you read through this familiarization kit, you can easily gain access to information pertaining to the technicalities of your MCS exam. You'd also have access to a tutor managed live chat. So whenever you have questions, you can raise your concerns, and you'd get instantaneous answers. And also under the value pack, you'd gain access to the OTQ revision cards. So since you had passed your OTQ examinations, I said that you need not really learn your theory. So, however, when attempting a certain mock exam, you might not remember a certain theoretical element. So if that is the case, simply refer to the OTQ revision cards which we have provided, so that you can easily brush up your knowledge considering or concerning the relevant area. So the value pack is priced at £199. And looking at the premium package, this is designed for students who are coming through the exemption routes, because most students who are coming through the exemption routes, you would have completed your academic qualifications, but CIMA is a professional qualification. The way in which your knowledge is tested is totally different to that of an academic qualification. So in an academic qualification, if you come up with highly theoretical answers, you can easily pass any type of examination, or it could be an assignment or a presentation. You can pass these modules easily if you provide highly theoretical answers. However, in this exam, your theoretical knowledge is tested in an extremely practical manner. So it's mostly about your application skills. So most students who are coming through the exemption route, they are clueless about the type of application skills you need to possess to pass the MCS exam. And on top of that, most students who are coming through the exemption route have knowledge gaps pertaining to the P2 and F2 syllabi. So you'd be really conversant with E2, but P2 and F2, if you are clueless about certain theoretical elements, then you cannot pass the MCS exam. So having you guys in our mind, we have developed the premium package, and on top of that, if you failed the MCS exam in a previous sitting, then it indicates that you lack theoretical knowledge or you need to improve your application skills. So if that is the case, focused on these type of students, we have developed the premium package. So you'd get access to all the type of services as well as study material which comes under the value pack. Additionally, you would gain access to the online mock exam platform. I was talking about this previously. So when attempting each mock exam, you can do it under exam conditions. It's going to be extremely beneficial for you so that you get accustomed to exam stress. At the same time, when attempting each mock exam, I want you to keep practicing the answering and time management techniques. So the best way to practice these techniques and get them right is when you are attempting each mock exam under exam conditions. So if you attempt each mock exam via our exam platform, you can easily improve your answering and time management techniques. And you'd also have access to one-on-one tutor feedback for mocks 3, 4, and 5. So the first two mocks are there to get your bearings with the answering and time management techniques. However, by the time you are at mock number 3, you'd have a good grasp of these techniques. So in such an environment, you are in a position to come up with well-structured answers within the stipulated time period. Okay, so let me quickly show you the type of feedback which we provide at TCS. So as you can see, for each paragraph, we have provided our tutor feedback, and if there are certain major issues within the answer, we have highlighted them under tutor feedback at the very end of each and every subtask. That's exactly what you can see throughout this answer script. And at the very end, we have provided the mark breakdowns, and on a subtask by subtask basis, not just mark breakdowns, we have also indicated about a success rate. So the success rate indicates the subtasks in which your performance was not up to the required level of standard. So when conducting your revision, rather than allocating 3 hours of your time once more and attempting the entire mock, simply you need to focus on the subtasks in which where your performance was low, and focus on redeveloping answer plans, because it's all about the quality of your answers. So the best way to improve your quality is to get your answering technique right, answer planning right. And once you had redeveloped the answer plans, focus solely on the subtasks where your success rate was not up to the required level of standard. Once you had redeveloped your answer plans, simply compare your fresh answer plan to the answer plans which we have provided, so that you can further improve the quality of your answers, so that you can really understand what your shortcomings are, what type of knowledge gaps are there, and you can significantly improve the quality of your answers. So that's the type of revision you have to be involved with, rather than going through your past notes, your study texts and whatnot. Because as I told you earlier, this is a highly practical examination. So the best way to conduct your preparations should be to focus on your mock exams, keep practicing answering and time management techniques, and focusing on getting your answer plans right. So we have developed resources with the intention of ensuring that you fulfill these requirements in a comfortable environment. And you'd also gain access to answer plans of all 5 mock exams. No other service provider is providing this service. So you would have seen what an answer plan looks like if you had checked out our free content. And utilizing the answer plan which was used for the mini mock, I conducted the 3rd webinar. So this is what an answer plan looks like. As you can see, rather than going through pages and pages of suggested answers, by going through these answer plans, you can easily understand the structure of each answer. You can easily understand how theoretical elements had been brought in, what type of pre-seen information had been brought in, and you can easily improve your application skills. So these are good short notes rather than you having to develop short notes focused on each and every suggested answer. We have done it for you, so you won't be wasting time. Instead, if you go through these answer structures, you can easily understand what type of answers you are supposed to develop at your real exam. And if your answer structuring, the quality of your answer structuring is not up to standard, as I mentioned earlier, when you compare your own answer structure or the answer plan to the answer plans which we have provided, you can easily and significantly improve the quality of your answer plans. And you'd also gain access to 20 master classes. So via these master classes, whilst teaching you the logic of each and every answer, we are also teaching you theory as well as application skills. So most students, as I mentioned earlier, who are coming through the exemption route, or if you had failed your examination previously, it is mainly because of gaps in theoretical knowledge and application skills. So we have covered these elements via these master classes. So you need not spend any amount of time to learn theory and improve application skills. Just watch the master classes, then you'd easily understand theory as well as improve your application skills significantly. And the premium package comes with a pass guarantee. So if you end up investing on the premium package yet fail the examination, you'd gain access to the premium package in your subsequent sitting free of charge. However, in order to claim the pass guarantee, you have to fulfill these three requirements. You have to complete all 5 mock exams, because if you don't do it, you are not covering the entire syllabus. Then you are taking a chance, you are testing your luck. Rather than testing your luck, it's better to conduct your preparations fully, thereby being conversant with different types of questions which can be thrown at you, covering the entire syllabus. So you have to attempt all 5 mock exams. And when developing answers, your answers need to be original. There's absolutely no point of watching the master classes before attempting each mock exam. There's absolutely no point of copying and pasting answers from the suggested answers, because if you are doing it, you are cheating yourself. And if you cheat yourself in your preparations, you'd suffer at the real exam. So as I mentioned earlier, when attempting each mock exam, I want you to focus on your answering and time management techniques. Try to get it right. If you do, you'd never run out of time at the exam. You'd come up with high quality answers. And if you come up with well structured high quality answers, and if you do not run out of time, there's absolutely no way that you'd end up failing the MCS exam. And you have to meet the performance criteria as well. So this applies to mocks 3, 4, and 5. So as I mentioned earlier, by the time you attempt mocks 3, 4, and 5, you would have significantly improved your answering and time management techniques. So if that is the case, you can easily gain more than 40% for each mock exam. So in order to ensure that you are serious about what you are doing when attempting the last 3 mocks, especially given the fact that you are receiving tutor feedback, we have come up with this performance criteria. So if you stick to the answering and time management techniques, then you'd definitely score more than 40%. All right. So if you fulfill these 3 requirements successfully before your exam, there's absolutely no way that you'd end up failing the exam. So that's the pass guarantee which we provide for the premium package. So the package is priced at £749. You can pay in 2 installments of £374 each, or else you can pay in full and save £100. If that is the case, the price of the package will be £649. And within the website itself, you can gain access to the MCS study plan. So according to the study plan, we are in week number 4. So within this week, you have to complete mock number 3, attempt mock number 3 via the exam platform. After attempting the mock exam, you are supposed to watch the 4 master classes with the intention of learning theory, improving application skills, as well as understanding the logic behind each and every answer. And you are supposed to refer to personalized tutor feedback, which you receive within 48 hours of you completing your mock exam via the exam platform. And then once you had gotten your feedback, you'd know the subtasks in which you need to your grade is not up to the required level of standard. And focused on these subtasks, you are supposed to redevelop answer plans. And after redeveloping answer plans, you are simply supposed to compare your fresh answer plan to the answer plans which we have provided for mock number 3. So these are the things which you need to get right in this week. So it's your real responsibility is to attempt the mock exam. Everything else is handled by us. So if you are yet to start your preparations, it's high time you start, or else you won't have enough time, because as per the study plan, you are supposed to complete mock number 3 within this week. So if you are yet to start, you have 3 mocks to complete in the within this week. So you have to start right now. Do not wait until the last moment, because if you do, if you wait until the last moment, even if you have access to all these superior study material, you won't stand a chance of passing the MCS exam. Okay, so that's what we offer at TCS. Having said that, we are moving on to the second part of today's webinar. I said that I'll be sharing some points pertaining to what you need to do to improve your confidence before the exam. So before we move on, let me quickly go through the questions which had come across. Let me pause the recording. All right, folks, thank you very much for those questions. If you still have questions, please do drop me a message via the chat so that I can address these concerns. Okay, so we are in the second part of today's webinar. As I mentioned earlier, I said that I'll be focusing on what you need to get right with regards to creating a positive attitude before the exam. So first things first, the best means of getting things done which leads to a positive attitude is to stick to our study plan. So as I mentioned earlier, you can access the study plan within the website itself. We have developed this with the intention of ensuring that you can easily keep track of your preparations on a weekly basis, so that you'd understand what you need to achieve every week. And if you stick to it, you can easily get all these things done, all these requirements done, and successfully pass your MCS examination. So I've actually explained each element of the study plan. So if you missed out on the first webinar, please go watch the recorded version of the first webinar study plan, where I've highlighted what you need to get right when conducting your preparations, and how to tackle your preparations on a weekly basis. And it's better if you can stick to a routine, especially given the fact that you just have 3 weeks at your disposal. So at least in the upcoming 3 weeks, if you can wake up and sleep at a predetermined time, if you cannot do this successfully, focus on your meal intake. If you can have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner at predetermined time periods, you'd fall asleep and wake up at pre-stipulated times. So stick to these, at least try to stick to a routine in the upcoming 3 weeks, so that you'd have a positive attitude, because any individual who sticks to a routine on a daily basis, that's the first step towards achieving a positive mindset or having a positive attitude. If you are working without a routine, you'd feel some type of negativity when you wake up. Some days you'd feel down, you'd feel lethargic, you'd feel that you cannot carry out work in a successful manner. So in order to get rid of all this undue negativity or undue anxiety, the best thing is to stick to a routine, at least in the upcoming 3 weeks. Then you need to really focus on practicing mock exams under exam conditions. So it's better to practice under simulated exam conditions. That's exactly why we have developed an exam platform, because as I mentioned earlier, at your real exam, you'd encounter some type of stress. Yeah, because not all the questions will be easy. Out of the 4 tasks, the examiner ensures that one of the tasks will be extremely hard. So this is usually the first or the second task. So these challenging tasks are thrown at you in the first half of your examination, with the intention of throwing you off your exam strategy. Because if you screw up the first 2 tasks, your mind will constantly keep reminding you that you had wasted time, or you had screwed up one of the answer plans, or you have screwed up one of the answers, and this results in negativity, and this negativity will be carried forward in your remaining tasks as well. So if you are negative throughout the examination, then you'd end up failing the exam, because you'd run out of time. Because take it from me, I've experienced this as a student. Whenever you feel negative in a CIMA exam, what happens is, negativity leads to panic. Panic leads to brain freeze. So brain freeze is a situation where you cannot think anything. You are trying to think, you are trying to plan out your answer, you are trying to type something, but nothing works properly. So if something like that occurs at your real exam, then you'd end up failing the MCS exam. So it's better to get accustomed to these type of issues when you are attempting the 5 mock exams, rather than facing these issues for the first time at the real exam. Because when you're practicing mock exams, when you face these type of issues, then you'd get conversant with these issues, then you'd know how to tackle each and every issue, each and every negative situation which you'd face under time pressure, when attempting a time pressured exam. Although you have 3 hours, it's as if you are trying to get everything done within 1.5 hours, because according to our answering technique, the first 30 minutes of each, sorry, the first 20 minutes of each task should be allocated towards developing answer plans, and the remaining 25 minutes is just a matter of expanding your answer plan. So when it comes to expanding the answer plan, it's actually easy, because you know what you're supposed to write, because you have come up with a structure. So the real task, or the real skill, should be with regards to developing answer plans. So this only takes up something like 1.5 hours of your time. So the real challenge is to be really focused within these 1.5 hours. So the best way to get accustomed to these techniques, champion these techniques, is to stick to our exam technique routine, which is to allocate 5 minutes to read through the question, 20 minutes to develop the answer plan, and the remaining 20 to 25 minutes should be allocated towards expanding the answer plan. You can only get this right by practicing these techniques every time you attempt a mock exam. And when attempting mock exams, do it in isolation, do it in one go. I've seen students, when attempting mocks, they try to attempt the first task today, second task tomorrow, third task day after tomorrow, and likewise. Whereas at the real exam, you have to attempt all 4 tasks together within 3 hours. So it's better to attempt your exams under exam conditions, to get accustomed to exam stress. So the best way to achieve this is to attempt mock exams, full mocks, in isolation, devoid of any type of disturbances, because you won't encounter any disturbances at your real exam. So let's assume you feel down, or you cannot think straight, you are experiencing brain freeze. The only way to fix it is by focusing on your breathing. There's this certain part of our brain which is known as the amygdala. So whenever you are involved with rational thinking, as a finance manager, your job is to be involved with rational decision making. When conducting your evaluations, you have to conduct it in the most rational manner. So all types of rational evaluations and decision making takes place within the prefrontal cortex of our brain. However, when we are under extreme levels of stress, when we are panicking, the prefrontal cortex will switch off, and there's a small part of our brain which is known as the amygdala. The amygdala kicks in. When the amygdala kicks in, um, all rationality goes out of the picture. You'd get emotional, you'd feel jittery, and this leads to brain freeze, because when the amygdala is in action, adrenaline would rush, and when you're experiencing an adrenaline rush, you are not taking the best decision, you are taking a quick decision, and a quick decision is not always the best decision. So if you experience brain freeze, then what it indicates is that your amygdala had kicked in. So there's only one way to switch off your amygdala, that is by focusing on your breathing. So if you experience brain freeze, if you cannot think straight, simply close your eyes and focus on your breathing for 2 minutes. Inhale from your nose, exhale from your mouth. Do it for 2 minutes. Then the amygdala will switch off. Then you'd start thinking from your prefrontal cortex. So when attempting each of your 5 mock exams, you are supposed to do this. You cannot get it right just because you know this technique. You cannot get it right at your exam. When attempting each mock exam under exam conditions, you'd encounter this problem, and whenever you encounter this problem, keep practicing this technique. It will work wonders for you. Or else, if you do not find a solution to this issue, if the amygdala is on throughout your paper, you'd gain extremely low marks because you are panicking, and you when you panic, you come up with you try to develop answers without thinking them through. You'd try to come up with quick decisions, and as I mentioned earlier, quick decisions aren't the best decisions out there. And let's assume you are working at office and you are experiencing this type of stress. You can go smoke a cigarette, or if you are into smoking, most people do it to manage their stress levels. Or you can go have a coffee. You can walk out of your cubicle, try to have a chat with another person with the intention of clearing up your mind. But you cannot do it at your exam. So the only way to get out of this problem is to focus on your breathing. So I want you to try doing this when attempting each mock exam. You'd be amazed about the outcomes. You'd be amazed to find out that quickly you can get back on track, rather than pondering about any type of negativity you would feel at your real exam. So focus on these things, because if you keep practicing these things, you'd develop a higher level of confidence. Because as a finance manager, if you are to do your job properly, you have to be confident about the evaluations which you would provide to your superiors. You have to be confident about the type of recommendations which you are providing. You have to be confident about the type of answers you are developing. You have to be confident about you know never running out of time, because if you keep thinking about running out of time, you'd run out of time, because our brain does what we ask, what we request it to do. So if you are always thinking about something negative, then something negative will actually happen at the exam. So it's better to be positive. So all these type of issues, it's better to encounter all these type of issues before the exam when attempting each mock exam. So if you are experiencing brain freeze, focus on your breathing, switch off your amygdala, keep moving forward. Because if you keep chipping forward, then you'd achieve a first time pass at the MCS exam. As I mentioned earlier, not all the questions will be easy. One or two subtasks will be extremely hard. Not that it's hard under exam pressure. You'd feel that these subtasks are hard. However much hard they are, keep moving forward. Focus on your breathing. Keep moving forward. If you do, you can easily pass your MCS exam. And you need to avoid deflections, especially given the fact that you have just 3 weeks at your disposal. So in the upcoming 3 weeks, if you waste time, then chances of you passing the exam is extremely low. So because of that, rather than wasting time, simply focus on what's important. The most important thing is to attempt the 5 mock exams under exam conditions, whilst practicing answering and time management techniques. Because if you do, you are through 50% of your preparations. Everything else is all about watching a set of master classes, then checking out tutor feedback, then focusing on redeveloping answer plans in the areas in which your performance is substandard. So it's all about attempting mock exams. Avoid these deflections. There's absolutely no point of trying to go through the exam blueprint, because we have covered the most important elements which are highlighted within the blueprint within this webinar as well as in the previous webinars. And over reliance on predictions is a killer, because you cannot predict the type of questions which can be thrown at you. You can be conversant with all syllabus areas, and you'd know what type of questions will be thrown at you, covering all syllabus areas. However, you cannot predict the type of scenarios which can be thrown at you at your real examination. So there's absolutely no point of relying on predictions, because as I mentioned earlier, the CIMA examiner is trying to replicate a real life corporate environment. So in a real life corporate environment, you cannot predict the type of issues your company might face. You cannot predict the type of opportunities the company is trying to exploit. So it's as if you walk into office, you open your laptop or your computer, switch on your computer, you had received an email from your superior, and this email highlights a certain issue or some type of an opportunity the company is trying to exploit. So you cannot predict these things until you go and start work. So do not rely on predictions. Your focus should be about improving the quality of your answer plans, sticking to the time management techniques which we have highlighted. If you do, you'd pass the MCS exam for sure. And excessive industry analysis is totally irrelevant, especially given the fact that you are playing the role of a finance manager. As a finance manager, you are located within the tactical level or the middle level of the organization. You are the link between the board members and the operational level employees. So, since you are at the tactical level, you need not have an in-depth understanding about industry dynamics, because you are not involved with long-term decision making. At the SCS level, you are playing the role of a senior finance manager. You are reporting directly to board members, especially the CFO. So these board members are involved with long-term decision making. So when arriving at their decisions, they have to adopt something called an outside-in approach. Whenever arriving at decisions, they have to always think about how the connected stakeholders are going to react to each decision, how the industry is going to react to us, how the main players within the industry are going to get affected. So that's an outside in approach, but that's what it means. However, as a finance manager at the tactical level, you should not adopt an outside in approach. Instead, you have to be totally conversant with what happens within the company. Your role is to provide leadership. Your role is to be involved with medium term or short term decision making. Other than that, you are not supposed to have an outside in approach when it comes to providing your evaluations or when providing your recommendations. So excessive industry analysis actually doesn't make any sense. So simply go through the industry analysis slides which we have prepared. Then within 10 to 15 minutes, you would gain an in-depth understanding about what happens within your chosen industry. And misguided use of past papers is a killer as well. I've seen hordes of students out there trying to go through past papers or past exam variants when conducting their preparations, which actually doesn't make any sense, mainly given the fact that each of these questions or scenarios are based on different pre-seen documents. So if you are referring to questions and answers which are based on different pre-scenes, then you are wasting time, because the internal dynamics of your chosen company and the internal dynamics of a previous company's pre-scene could be totally different. And on top of that, the external dynamics as well as the financial statements will be totally different to that of yours. So in such an environment, there's absolutely no point of going through these suggested answers, because if you do, you'd be you'd really not understand what's highlighted within each and every suggested answer, because it's based on a different pre-scene, which is based on a different company. So the internal dynamics, external dynamics, as well as the financial statements will be totally different to that of Cuppcar. So it's better to, when attempting mock exams, it's better to attempt exam standard and pre-scene specific mock exams. And information overload is a killer, especially given the fact that you just have 3 weeks at your disposal. So whenever the exam draws near, there's a tendency for you to do everything under the sun. There's absolutely no point of doing these things. You try to go through your study notes, you try to come up with the short notes and whatnot. There's absolutely no point of doing these things, because as I mentioned earlier, your practical application skills are heavily tested at the MCS exam. So it's better to solely focus on the 5 mock exams which we have prepared. Stick to our study plan. If you stick to our study plan, you'd get rid of all unnecessary exercises or unnecessary activities which would bog you down. Instead, you'd solely focus on attempting mock exams covering the entire syllabus. And on top of that, whilst attempting each mock exam, if you keep practicing your answering and time management techniques, you can get these techniques right at your real exam. And additionally, if you watch the master classes, you'd learn theory and improve your application skills. And once you refer to tutor feedback, you'd really understand what your shortcomings are. And when conducting your revision on a mock by mock basis, it should be solely focused on redeveloping answer plans and trying to improve the quality of your answers. Because as per the CIMA examiner, the markers are under strict instructions to focus on the quality of your answer rather than focusing on the quantity or the word count of your answer. So avoid these deflections in order to ensure a first time pass in your MCS exam. And you might be attempting your exam at home. If that is the case, please click on this link and go check out the exam platform created by CIMA, because you need to get your bearings with the exam platform. And on top of that, you need to be conversant with the content which you need to read through before you check out the exam platform. There are certain technicalities which you need to be conversant with, especially if you are attempting the exam at home, because you are not supposed to keep any documents with you. You are not supposed to utilize your own calculator. You're not supposed to utilize any stationery or whatever. Instead, you need to adhere to a certain set of guidelines, and you need to check your webcam, because an invigilator will keep track of your performance via a webcam. So it's better to get accustomed to all these technicalities before your examination. So simply go to this link and check it out. All right, so we are happy to mention that in November 2023, the previous sitting, we achieved a 90% pass rate for MCS. And as per the student, she gained 114 marks. The pass mark is just 80 out of 150, but this student got 114 marks. And several of our students got more than 100 marks simply by sticking to the study plan and attempting a mock on a weekly basis. So it's of utmost importance that you start your preparations right now, because as per our study plan, you are supposed to attempt mock number 3. So you are, if you have to start right now, you'd have to do something like 2 mocks per week in the upcoming 3 weeks. So start preparations right now. Focus on attempting the 5 mock exams so that you'd succeed at your MCS examination. So having said that, if you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them. I'm going to pause the recording. All right, seems like there aren't any more questions. So I'm going to conclude the session. If you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com, or you can email us via info@study@tcs.com, or drop us a message on our WhatsApp, which is 7898464196. And I invite you guys to follow us on our social media handles, especially YouTube and TikTok, because the recorded versions of these webinars will be uploaded onto YouTube. And on top of that, if you check out our TikTok channel, you'd gain access to 3 videos, which is a good mind map of the pre-seen document. So rather than you trying to memorize the most important points highlighted within the pre-seen, you can simply keep watching these 3 TikTok videos. It just takes 7 to 9 minutes of your time. So on a daily basis, if you keep watching these 3 TikToks, you would constantly keep reminding yourself about the most important points highlighted within the pre-seen. So your life becomes easy at your real examination. You will not have to spend time to go through the pre-seen document at your exam. Instead, you would actually remember all the important points which appear within the pre-seen document. So I invite you guys to follow these social media handles and make full utility of the free resources which we provide. So having said that, it brings us to the end of today's session. So thank you very much for joining in. I hope you guys gain something out of it. So let me remind you about the upcoming workshop. Make sure to attend it live, because we are not recording the workshop. And if you know any friends who'd benefit from these workshops, please invite them as well. And always tell them that they cannot view the workshops later. Instead, they have to attend them live to benefit from them. So thank you very much, guys. Good night and take care.